So if a system gets created, what the plaintiffs are saying, or Michael Ketchmark specifically, I guess, is saying, is if that new system that becomes common practice is we're coming back at you.
We're coming back. No, they're ready. He's ready.
This is Byron, Lazine, and Nicole White, and you are tuned into episode 322 of The Real Word.
Word is up.
Words are up, but they are down, and then they're sideways, and they change a lot.
I feel like you've been saying word is up, but they've been down.
I just react to that. It's like, no, they're all over the place right now.
The word?
They're mostly going sideways because nobody knows where they're going.
No one knows what the hell's going on.
So they just keep drifting to the right.
And it's funny because, we realized even today, like our brokerage is sort of like doing weird shit too.
Dude, it's every brokerage. I'm not just going to pin one brokerage or the other.
Yeah.
But when you talk to enough managers and you're like, what is the plan between now, August 17th, and moving on?
Yeah.
You hear some wacky stuff.
Or just crickets.
Or nothing. Or just like, we heard a rule recently. I won't say who.
Have I heard the rule?
What's that?
Did I hear the rule?
Yeah.
Okay.
We heard a rule recently.
Yeah.
Of a brokerage that would be obsolete come August 17th.
Correct. But they just instituted it.
Instituted a week ago. It's like, hello? Have you been reading anything? Anyways.
Well, but then I'm actually, just today, it dawned on me that I feel terrible for all these office admin that now have to.
Feel really bad for them, actually. I do. Because
I never even thought about it before, but all the paperwork, and then if there's like a third or a fourth addendum based on that's going to be a nightmare.
And if the rules are changing rapidly fast, who ends up enforcing them? That manager and that admin. And they might be enforcing the wrong rule because there's a ton of confusion out there.
So much. NAR,
maybe your association, maybe not your association, but the National Association of Realtors says that the proposed settlement,
correct,
eliminates steering. It's gone. It's vanished. Thin air. Poof.
Isn't that weird?
No more steering. But the plaintiffs, specifically plaintiffs' lawyer, Michael Ketchmark, says, no. I'm going to issue a little warning. He's going to go Dave Portnoy
I think it's
on
like
the
a
industry.
Big warning. This is like threatening.
He's going Dave Portnoy on the industry. He got a bottle of Dom.
Yeah.
And he carved into the bottle of Dom NAR, DOM, NAR. I'm putting it on the bottle of Dom, and I'll pop this thing later when I come back and get you again. He's basically saying, and I'll tell you exactly what he says.
Yeah.
I'm going to come back and repick this scab in the future. Visually think of repicking a scab.
Don't
is
ever,
that something?
It's gross.
Is that something that might appeal to you?
No, it's bloody and
it's very disgusting to think
gross.
about. Okay, so we got to go back a little bit to this last conference here, NAR conference. There was a whole big thing about steering, right? Now, NAR has been saying, hey, and just on Friday, the NAR chief legal officer, Katie Johnson, emailed the 1.5 million members to let them know that the trade group had updated the FAQs addressing steering. So they keep updating these facts.realtor.
Right.
That's the best way to find this is facts.realtor. And so if you go down to 46, this is out of the Inman piece. I thought Andrew did a great piece over at Inman, by the way. 46, what is NAR's policy on steering buyers? Not the FAQs, not out of Inman piece, but the lead up there and the coverage on this was out of the Inman piece. All right. 46, what's NAR's policy on steering buyers based on the amount of broker compensation? Under the NAR Code of Ethics, steering buyers based on the amount of broker compensation is prohibited.
Prohibited.
Of course it is. Realtors must pledge themselves protect and promote the interests of their client, putting their client's best interests before their own. A realtor must never put broker comp before their client's interests. Love it. Buyers must be honest and truthful in their real estate communications, must not exaggerate. Realtor does anything to put their own interests, compensation before the client's interests, they're violating this primary code of ethics. And then 47. Does NAR settlement address the theoretical possibility of steering? This is important because we're going to address this a little bit later on.
Right.
Does NAR settlement address the theoretical possibility of steering? They say, this is NAR says, yes. In the agreement, NAR reaffirms its commitment to requiring that MLS participants must not limit the listings their client sees because of broker comp. Written buyer agreements required by the NAR practice changes that will be implemented on August 17th. On August 17th, buyer broker agreements are mandatory when showing home to a buyer.
Right.
When working with a buyer. This will also outline that MLS participants may not receive comp for broker services from any source that exceeds the amount or rate agreed to in the agreement with the buyer. So if you and a buyer say, we're going to agree that my comp is worth X.
2 bananas.
And the seller's offering Y and Y is greater than X, you're getting X because your buyer broker and the buyer negotiated X. And so NAR is hanging their hat on this right now. They're saying because we did this, because that's how our buyer agreements are going to be written, there is no potential for steering. This is essentially what NAR is saying.
I mean, unless the buyer legitimately can't pay you.
Michael Ketchmark doesn't see it that way. Again, I'm going to tell you what Michael Ketchmark came out and said, but let's break this down a little bit further on what's in the FAQs. But This is the big one that NAR is hanging their hat on. They're saying because our agreements after August 17th, they're going to say that the buyer is putting that number on there, that there won't be steering potential.
Okay.
Now, there's been commentary of like, oh, if seller offer more, can I renegotiate buyer Can I renegotiate? Because contracts can be renegotiated.
Right.
There's been that kind of talk. That would be kind of working the system a little bit.
Right.
A loophole. We don't want loopholes. They don't want loopholes.
Wow.
Since a broker working with a buyer cannot receive more comp than the buyer has agreed to in that agreement, this is straight out NAR's website. The amount of any offer of compensation is irrelevant to the buyer broker's compensation. So they're saying this is the fix-all.
Who cares? Who cares about you guys?
Well, they're saying what they're saying is the fix-all that eliminates steering. Not sure about that is what the other side is saying.
Right.
I'm not saying that's what the other. I'm just saying here's the sides. Okay.
Yep.
Under these practice change, and why is it important what the other side is saying? Because this is a legal matter. We're not attorneys. Okay. This is not legal advice, by the way. Under these practice changes, the NAR has eliminated any theoretical steering because a broker will not make more compensation by steering to a buyer to a particular listing because it has a higher offer of compensation. This is really what all these lawsuits have been about, right? Is the steering potential, the antitrust. Can a broker tell a potential buyer that the amount of broker commissions and explain who is paying these commissions? Yes. In fact, realtors must provide, this is still again out of NAR, provide this information to potential buyers under NAR Code of Ethics. Written buyer agreements required by the NAR practice changes that will be implemented on August 17th will also outline that the MLS participants may not receive compensation for brokerage services from any source that exceeds the amount rate joined into agreement with the buyer. Okay. The NAR settlement also requires that to the extent that such a realtor or participant will receive compensation from any source, the agreement must specify and conspicuously disclose the amount or rate of compensation it will receive or how this amount will be determined. That was added on May 29th, 2024. Just added.
Yep.
Fresh off the press, the NAR press. Number 49, can a listing broker explain to a seller that the buyer will know who is paying the commissions? By the way, I don't love just like reading the FAQs from Realtor's website, but I know your broker likely isn't.
Oh, of course.
So it's like, I'm going to do it so that we can try to figure this thing out together here. Yes, Articles 2 and 12 of NAR's Code of Ethics apply equally to brokers working with sellers. The listing broker should explain to her client. It says her. The listing broker should explain to her client. No his or her, Nicole.
Nope. Or they.
There's no they there. That's a good point. That's a good point. Okay, it just goes with her. Okay, we're just all right. We'll move on. The listing broker should explain to her client the benefits and costs of the various types of marketing that can be done for a listing and how potential buyers might respond to such marketing, including any buyer's cost that the listing broker or seller may offer to pay. Listing broker should explain the various costs. Okay. The listing broker should inform the seller about costs the buyer will incur, how the buyer might react to those costs, how the seller can market the house. But a listing broker must not tell a seller that a broker will steer buyers based on the amount that the broker is compensated. Again, that one added on the 29th of May. So NAR, every time they're like hearing more feedback or they're changing. Confusion, they go to this FAQ section and they update, and they tell you when they update. So they're actually identifying when they update, which is actually pretty unique level of transparency. I will say that NAR has got to really get this thing
going
dialed in here between now and August 17th, because here's Michael Ketchmark's comments.
Right.
When it comes to steering, ask for comment on NAR's guidance. Michael Ketchmark, the lead plaintiffs' counsel, said steering, quote unquote, steering is a very serious legal issue in the antitrust world. Anyone who thinks that they can send out a few emails or bury their heads in the sand and avoid the application of the law is wrong.
Wrong.
And these new rules will take effect as these new rules take effect, we will take legal action to enforce the settlement agreement.
I mean, so right now he's essentially saying he's going to pay for his kids to go to school, his grandkids to go to school, his great-grandkids.
Well, he has generational wealth now, but yeah.
I mean, but he's not done yet. I mean, he's ready to attack.
I mean, what he's saying is that in the antitrust world, these are serious issues.
Right.
And I
don't know that anyone hasn't been taking it seriously.
No. But what he's saying is that if there's circumvention of this,
right,
we will come back.
But that's the problem, is that there's really no clarity on what would be considered that.
Well, so Notorious R.O.B, who we love, he put out a piece.
Yep.
And he's like, this is very vague. He wasn't really thinking anything of this. Then he puts out another piece that just happened Monday of this week.
Okay.
Where he's like, maybe I was wrong.
Isn't today Monday?
We're recording this Monday. This go out Tuesday morning. Well, I mean, it's going out Tuesday morning. It doesn't matter. We're recording this Monday. We usually record right before on Tuesday mornings, but Nicole dragged me into a charity golf tournament tomorrow. So
let's go.
Put this up in the morning, Haley, so it doesn't wait. First thing Tuesday morning instead of Tuesday afternoon. Anyways, he says, maybe I was wrong. Okay, so he got some commentary from attorneys that reached out to him, was like, hey, your post was not accurate. Because what he's saying is, and this is also how Kevin Sears has kind of, the NAR president, has put information out that, hey, you can make offers of, how often have we said this? Have you heard this? You can make offers of compensation, just not on the MLS.
Correct.
Okay. But you can make offers of compensation. Well, how do I do that? Well, we talked last week on the show about, on the pod, on Real World Pod here, about those websites that are popping up. Now, you and I both don't think those websites are going to work out. If you want more information on those websites that are popping up, offering compensation, go check out last week's pod. We don't think those will work out. But that would be potentially circumventing and falling back into antitrust actions and practices.
But let's be honest, though, if you read it, though, one of those websites is strictly talking to sellers and buyers.
Right. There could be an argument.
So the seller is actually the one that is going on the site and putting how much they're offering.
And for those reasons, I think that website's even more trouble, because no seller and buyer are going to use that. They're going to use Realtor and Zillow like they do. Yeah. Anyways, go look at that pod if you want those. Yeah. But so this attorney, I believe that's what Notorious ROB is kind of saying. This guy wanted anonymity, didn't want to put his name on it, which is what it is. But here's the thing. There's smart people now saying this, that if you read the NAR settlement carefully, it does not specifically allow offers of compensation. It doesn't necessarily say
It can't.
you can't.
Right.
It says you can't on the MLS. But that the fact that it's not specifically saying in the settlement, yes, offers of compensation from seller or listing broker
Right.
are allowed.
Right.
It leaves it
Very open.
a little open. And so if a system gets created, what the plaintiffs are saying, or Michael Ketchmark specifically, I guess, is saying, is if that new system that becomes common practice is we're coming back at you.
We're coming back. No, they're ready. He's ready.
So here's what everyone needs to understand, according to Rob Hahn's piece, is the fact that shall not prevent, okay, does not equate to specifically allows. This is where you get into a lot of legal language that I can't explain. Okay,
Well, give your example that you gave.
no, this was Rob's. This was Rob's example.
I think it helps sort of water it down for
All right,
people.
so imagine you're trying to lose weight. This is straight out of his piece. I hope you don't mind. I'm reading out of Rob's Substack. Go check out his Substack. It's very
If you pay, you have to pay for it.
yeah, it's very
don't pay
it's
for
very
it.
good. But he says, imagine you're trying to lose weight. So your wife says, no more cookies for you. Okay? She left it there. If she left it there, you would understand I'm not allowed to have cookies.
No cookies. I
Wife
don't like
said
cookies.
no cookies,
so
no
I
cookies.
feel good about it.
What if she said instead, no more cookies for you, but that shall not prevent you from eating cake? Did she give you permission to have the cake? Yes or no? The whole thing is you need to lose weight.
Right.
So if it's like, well, I kind of think I'm allowed to eat cake,
I'd eat ice cream.
but am
don't-
I actually going to lose weight if I eat the cake?
I don't know. Are you on the shot? Maybe you're on like Ozempic.
So only a lawyer trying to win a semantic argument would say that she did not give permission to eat the cake. Yet every reasonable person on the face of the planet would think she gave you permission to have your cake and eat it too. Just no cookies. Okay, so it's kind of like, oh, I cannot do offer on compensation in the MLS, but I can run over here to whatever it was, www.nesthook.com.
Or I could offer out a seller concession.
Or taking it seller concession. Now, see, here's my take, and I'm no legal expert. The seller concession thing is if a seller wants to make a concession to buyer/buyer agent,
Right.
and take that negotiation off the table and do that up front so they don't get renegotiated later on, the seller in their freedoms that should be protected and their ability to present what they want in a
Right.
deal
Yep.
should have that tool in their tool belt. That's how I feel. Okay. But to your point, is the concession the cake?
I mean, I feel like that's sort of what ended up happening with the DOJ. They didn't want it. They essentially don't want it anywhere.
If the plaintiff lawyers thought offers of compensation were illegal anti-competitive acts, which got $5 billion in damages, why even put in the shall not prevent language? Meaning, what like, okay, if now we're open to another law, like, why put that word in there, that shall not
Well,
prevent?
based on his
was that a word that
threat.
NAR negotiated
Right.
to maybe get some of these other opportunities, to work for sellers, to protect sellers, to be able to make these offers
Right.
of concession that they want to make? We're talking concession now. These words are, that's what I see. These words are going sideways. It's
So
getting so
sideways.
weird. Now, listen, there's a lot of smart people who said, we have a system that works. What is going on over there in real estate? Like Warren Buffett said that. He's like, what is going on over there? What are these guys talking about?
Yeah.
The system has worked. What is going on? And now we're trying to come up with this word pretzel to figure this thing out.
It's insane.
It is kind of weird.
And then you think about, well, you think about a lot of things. It's
So-
scary though. I mean, he's already threatening additional lawsuits.
That's where
And
we're
you
at right
don't
now.
even know. So you don't even know.
He's threatening additional lawsuits. there's not a lot. I can see to go back to what I said about brokers. I can see why maybe they're making confusing rules. Maybe they don't know. NAR seems to kind of maybe not even know.
No.
And the big thing here
August
is
17th is coming quick, though.
Ketchmark says if you try to go and create a new anti-competitive environment, we're going to come back out. And that word anti-competitive, antitrust, it fits in right now the current administration running the country. This is their agenda. This is their big belief, okay? Really break up anything that looks or appears like or feels like or smells like antitrust, anti-competitive.
Right.
In fact, you can go do your own research on this. The administration has gone after, why have there been no big tech mergers and M&As, mergers and acquisitions? Because they feel like companies, and maybe you're aligned with it, whatever. This is kind of their belief. I'm not picking sides. I'm just telling you what the mandate here has been. No more mergers and acquisitions. Let's break all those up. That's why you have right now Silicon Valley, which is like almost unthinkable, like San Francisco elites in the tech saying, hey, I'm doing a fundraiser right now for that convicted felon. Like there's a whole bunch of that. Whether he's actually a convicted felon or not, I'm just saying, I'm not, this is what we're going to go do a fundraiser for the other guy, for number 45, to try to make him 47, because they want to have business back, basically. That's, so why do I even say that here? Because this language that Ketchmark is using fits into the current climate.
Okay.
Very much so.
You're on that balance beam tight right now.
Trying to stay on it.
You're holding on. Your toes are on it.
What he's also saying is in line with this current DOJ.
Yeah.
So what I'm also saying is we have August 17th. We have a DOJ that's kind of got a lot of other things going on too right now. Maybe come November, who knows? Maybe some of this stuff changes again. Like not the proposed settlement. That's not going to change. That's going to settle. That's going to be what it is. But maybe there's not as maybe the next administration, who knows? Or maybe this administration changes their mind, whatever. Come November, maybe it's like we have a different path forward. We have other things on our plate.
Right.
Maybe not. I'm just throwing that out there. But this is what the language he uses and the timing he chose. It's all in line with how things are set up.
And it all gives us like 15 more thousand episodes to talk about it. It's giving us content here.
But I'd love to hear your thoughts down below on Ketchmark coming out and now saying, not so fast. We will relitigate. I'm not really saying you should be going out there making offers of compensation, and the settlement certainly doesn't specifically allow for it. So that's the update on that. I'm sure there's going to be more to come. We'll talk about it.
There's got to be.
There is.
Are
if
you
there's
going to
something
have
relevant.
So no cake for you?
Not a cake guy.
No cake.
I'm a creme brulee guy. Who's following me on Instagram at Byron Lazine?
Jesus.
Who knows about it? Put down a tap in the comments if you know about the creme brulee.
Agents looking to stand out from the crowd, Reminder Media is a resource you have to check out. You get your own branded print and digital magazines, email newsletters, and social media content. Reminder Media delivers these resources to your contacts on autopilot, keeping you top of mind with your database. All you need to do is focus on your follow-up calls and watch referrals and repeat business come in. I just started using this service and I'm already seeing results from this after only a few weeks. Use the link below to try out Reminder Media.
And if you want to have some creme brulee with me, join me in Las Vegas.
Let's go.
On October 18th, Circa Las Vegas.
Have you booked your room yet and all? You're in?
I'm in Circa Las Vegas.
Flights booked?
I haven't booked my flights yet, but that's not a big deal. Flights are not a big deal.
Not a big deal.
I'm in, I'll be staying on site at Circa where we're having the event on October 18th. By the way, the VIP event on October 17th, you should get the whole package, both the VIP experience and the general admission, the main day, 18th Friday. They're both on the early bird pricing. So you get both of those at a massive discount.
the time.
BAMX members get an additional 25% off of that. But Circle Las Vegas, which is a sick venue, is brand new. It feels and looks
I
and
think we
smells
fell into a
new.
hole last time.
It's
looking
gorgeous.
at photos.
It's unbelievable.
The big screen, the pool.
It's unbelievable. So join me, BAM Mania. Join the BAM community. Nicole, so many of you guys, so many of our BAMX members have already signed up. BAMX members are getting it 20% off of this early bird pricing. Link below. Hope to see you in Vegas. We'll see you on next week's Real Word. And hopefully we've got more clarity, or a little bit more clarity, if anything at all. They just keep refreshing that facts.realtor. Or is it realtor.facts? Facts.realtor, realtor.facts.
I mean, who cares? See you guys.
Refresh the FAQs. Keep it real. At BAMX, we listen to what real estate professionals want and need. That's why our platform is filled with sought-after courses, content, and tactical assets for your business. And that's why we launched BAMX in a box with templates and scripts done for you, delivered each Friday. The best part? It's not coming from panel pontificators who bought their followers and don't sell any real estate. It's coming from top agents, team leaders, and content creators in the industry. It's education that actually shows you how to do what you need in today's market. And now it includes editable templates and scripts so you can easily deliver that knowledge to your database. Every day, we continue to add more content into BAMX, into our private Facebook community, content that works, content that our members have exclusive access to daily. So do not wait any longer. Use code REALWORD and join the thousands of agents taking their business to the next level today. Code REALWORD for 10% off. I'll see you in BAMX.